Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu, King Teliano.
Is that you?
September, we here. What's up?
This is episode 267 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. It's where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, the After Story. It's where you can get access to exclusive content like Mic Check mangas, other exclusive content, and more on that later. We couldn't do this without the Patreon producers. Shout out to the Patreon producers, Christian the Archivist, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk Podcast. Make sure you listen to Dad Needs to Talk Podcast. Link in the description. Fear, Glazed Yams, J. Lee Trey from Shogo High, Get the Pro from Chaotic Culture and Shogo High. Explicitly, All for One Matt, Mazer, Altor, Monique Williams, Simi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and last but certainly not least, our guy, T Money Fingers. Fake echo there. Mic Check Waifu is the anime podcast. Is brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. We are the most consistent anime podcast, probably in your list. If we're in your list, we appreciate everybody that listens. Show couldn't do without all of you out there as well. You guys are amazing, absolutely amazing. You guys come back every week, and I say this a lot, but a lot of the times, a lot of our old episodes get spikes when people go through and listen to the spoiler half of the show. So we appreciate y'all, those of you that do that, because that helps us out quite a bit as well. So thank you so much for listening to us. There's so many of you, and the best way to get in contact with us is I'm gonna be honest with you. Twitter ain't the best place. So if you want to reach out to us, if you want to send us a DM, if you want to just have that conversation with us about anything you heard on the show, join the Discord, the Mic Check Waifu Discord. A lot of dope people in there, a lot of dope conversations in there. Feel free to join. It's discord.miccheckwaifu.com is the link to join. Anybody can join. No special privileges needed or anything like that. So join the conversations there. That is the best place to reach us. Period. All in all, period. Discord is the best place. Even if you got to DM us, don't ever feel afraid to DM us like you're bothering us. We don't mind at all. So just keep that in mind. Join the Discord. We appreciate that. And everybody that's listening or watching on YouTube a week later, because you're not a Patreon supporter, make sure you like and subscribe. We appreciate that too. Okay, we got a big episode today. Last week was our top 5 episode. So we're going to be reading off a bunch of our listeners' top 5s because they want us to be a part of it. And of course, every time they want to be a part of it, we're going to have them join us there, and it's via Discord. We also want to let y'all know that in 2 weeks. So let me get this episode right. Episode is coming out on the 17th, which means we're recording it on the 15th. That is our fall preview episode. So for the uninitiated, every anime season, we do a preview episode. We get everybody's sleeper picks, which means that a show that you know nothing about that you're going to pick and hope that it turns out to be good because you're going to watch the entire thing. We're going to pick our end of the season review for fall. And we're also going to pick our most anticipated and stuff like that. So the show that comes out September 17th, aka in 2 weeks from this episode, we will be doing the fall preview episode. Now, with all the rigmarole out of the way, before we get into anything else, how you feeling?
Final week of class.
Mm-hmm.
Great experience this week.
Dope.
But yeah, bro, I'm good, man. I'm gonna be real with you. I ain't had much happen this week.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Telling me either.
And that's cool. I'm not going to complain. I haven't had a bad week,
and that's okay, right? Like you could have a week where you ain't do shit or ain't shit happening, and that's great, actually.
Yeah, and what's wild though, and hear me out. This week I've actually gotten the least amount of sleep that I feel like I've gotten in a while. My body has only allowed me to literally sleep for about 4 hours a day. That's dangerous. And well, that's normal for me for a while, but I've been able to like get, and this is a while. So the last few weeks I've been working out harder again, right? Because I've been like hitting back to my bulking, and I've been getting probably, let's say, like 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep, which is more sleep than I normally get. But now I'm back to like the 4 hours, and I've been going to sleep earlier at like 9:30 ish, and I've been waking up every day this week at 1:30. 2 o'clock is I think the latest I woke up. And every day this week I've been up super early.
If the latest you woke up, I'm going to bed at that time sometimes. You know what? I take that back though. I've been going to bed at a decent time like a normal human.
Let's go. Look at Polo being a regular human being.
Which is like I like midnight, so it's not that normal, but it's normal. It's more normal than usual for me because I have terrible sleep apnea. Not apnea, insomnia.
Yeah, but I think I found a game I want to play.
A game?
It's a game I want to play super bad, and I'm about to probably buy it as soon as we're done recording.
What game is that?
Car X Street.
Car X Street. I'm searching it up for those.
Car X Street. It's a driving game.
You know what? I got a steering wheel in my closet or on my balcony,
and I'm literally thinking about just getting it.
I saw that it was in my recommended because I always look at racing games because I have that steering wheel and I should be looking for something to play on it.
Yeah, and I literally saw it and I watched it and hear me. What caught my attention, and I hate this, right? So my algorithm been mad lately, right? I've been sending Polo mad sports TikToks.
Football is definitely happening.
It's been going crazy. But like last week, these RC remote control car videos kept popping up on my YouTube. I watched a couple of them, and then like on Sunday, right after we recorded, a video of this black dude, he playing games like just drifting. Like drifting in games, all he do is drive around with his friends and just drift. And I'm like watching them for hours. I'm like, bro, I think I need to get this game. And then the game come out like 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm like, I'm about to get this. But I've been kind of like holding myself back because I'm waiting. I was waiting because I want to get the steering wheel and stuff. But I'm like, nah, forget it. I'm gonna just play it on controller. So yeah, that's been my battle. But I think I'm gonna get it just as soon as we done recording.
I might have to dust off my steering wheel because I got the gear shifter. I got the pedal. Obviously, I got it all.
I want all of that.
The problem is with my situation is that my floors are wood and I sit in a chair with wheels. So whenever I'm and I'm pressing the brake and the gas, I'm sliding from my chair. So it's very uncomfortable to play on this particular desk and this particular chair. So I kind of want to get like a separate sim chair just for that because I got an extra monitor too. So I could, you know what I'm saying, hook it up somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you down, I'm definitely down to play because I've been like, it caught my attention, bro. So I was like, I want to play this driving game so bad.
I'm telling you, I really do, and this is. We might as well be recording after story at this point, but I really do want to start this gaming podcast. Like I'm telling you, I got the name, I got everything set to go for it. We just need to do it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's you or anybody else out there that may want to help host. Listen, the thing with games, and this is again side tangent. Sorry, we're gonna get to the anime here shortly, but I am even more well versed in video games than I am in anime. So like anime quickly became like a very high level of knowledge for me, and knowledge obviously being subjective or whatever, very subjective, but I'm able to break down shows in a way that I've never been able to before I started this podcast. So that's what I mean by that. But my knowledge of video games, I can predict what a video game is going to do, how bad it's going to do, or how good it's going to do just by being so deep, so entrenched within this industry that is crazy. It's crazy how much my predictions of video games just come true. I know exactly how something gonna fall out, no pun intended. But speaking of, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, you remember when we did the video for the PlayStation Showcase on After Story?
Yeah.
Shout out to those who view or support us. And I think we can release that one for free eventually. But we saw Concord and we made predictions on what Concord was going to do. And I talked about it. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a flop. Lo and behold, it's one of the biggest. It is the biggest PlayStation flop they've ever had. So it's like you could see it coming, which unfortunately Concord was very obvious that it was going to be a terrible idea because of what it was. Even you predicted that. So it's like, and you wasn't that entrenched in video games as much as I was. So like you could see that. I'm like, nah, that ain't it. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I know it very, very, very well. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I cannot wait because everything for it is, like I said, it's all set up, and I pretty much have a game plan of how it would go as a host too. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope y'all are too.
Check your phone real quick for me, just real quick. And I you ain't gotta say nothing, but I gotta build on that. I just got some ideas, right? And I wanna put that together and develop ideas with that. I just sent you that just so you could see it. I ain't get to really manipulate or change anything too much yet.
Nah, that's it. We just gotta do it. All right, I'm good. All right, listen. This is you?
No, that's technically AI generated, but I was using it to get ideas so that I could build something.
Nah, that's it.
I ain't want to use that because it's AI generated, but I wanted to get it to build ideas. I got to get the tablet out and the pen.
I was about to say, because if you did this is some of the best work you've ever done.
It's stuff I would have done if I was using Photoshop. I could do that easy.
Here, let me tell you. Number three.
Number 3?
Yes.
Because there's changes I want to make to each of them, but I just want to see.
Number 3 is I wouldn't do not a damn thing else to it. I mean, why not? Why could we,
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's stop. All right, we gotta chill.
Okay. All right, let's do this anime podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yes, let's talk about anime. All right. So, big week. We're gonna go over some of our community's top 5, which is gonna be fun. That call to action that I sent out last week from our guy, one of our producers, Frozen. He's dude. Frozen, let me know if it's even possible. You know what? I'm a DM you. I'm a DM you on Discord. Remind me, Frozen, to DM you when you hear this, because he gave his thoughts on Yatagarasu from the call to action that I gave last week for those of you who are unaware. And because he was hyping Yatagarasu up with us, he was a part of that conversation that we had when it first came out. 2 seasons ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he gave his thoughts on it. This motherfucker. He's fucking spitting. It's so well done that I'm like, yo, we gonna get to that later, but it's perfect though. But before we get into that, as we always do, what was your episode of the week this week? What a week. I'm gonna just say that. What a fucking week this was.
I feel like I kind of struggled with episode of the week this week.
I struggled too.
And it's mostly because I feel like all the conversational parts were just too good. Yeah, like, I'm gonna be real. It's easy to say Oshinoko every week, but let me go with a slider here, right? A curveball.
Whoa!
Love is Indivisible by Twins.
That could be one too. Yes. Okay.
And it's mostly because, and I'm gonna tell you, I love how they handle relationships in this. There was a prediction I say where I think someone likes somebody, and I feel like my prediction went out the window.
Wrong as hell.
This specific character, super fucking wrong.
Yeah, but it was crazy. I loved it.
I loved it. I was like, oh my god,
it was incredible.
But I love their relationships in here. And there's another one, but I'm gonna let Polo say it because I think he's gonna say the other one that I'm thinking.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you too, and I'm about to cheat. Okay. Easy to say Oshinoko. Oshinoko had one of the best episodes ever, but that's like I said in Discord, it's 100 out of 10 show. It's so fucking brilliant. the way it's done. And it just keeps getting better. I don't even know how it's possible. It keeps getting better every single week.
Every week.
You can go with that. It was that until I watched Elusive Samurai. Elusive Samurai fucking killed it.
That's a curveball.
It was a wonderful episode of Elusive Samurai because, and the funny thing is, maybe I'm tripping. Help me out, community, and tell. Was there 2 episodes that dropped, or was I behind one?
You were behind one.
Okay.
But so I really enjoyed that episode too, and I'm surprised that you said it because I thought you was gonna say Makian.
I watched Elusive Samurai. I'm like, damn, it could be that. Then I watched Yatagarasu. I'm like, holy shit, it could be that. It's that. And at that time it was, until I watched Makian. I'm like, okay, this could be it too. But it's not, because my episode of the week this week is actually Shoshimin, bro. Mm-hmm. That is Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary, was fucking crazy. And it, again, not a lot happens in the show. We talked about that last week. Not a lot happens in this show. But the way it does, the way it happens,
the way it unfolds,
crazy, man. It's crazy. In the end,
the last statement, yeah, bro,
blew me back. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, I just love everything about the way the show moves. So while I cheated, and all of those shows I listed are technically my episodes of the week. Oh, sorry, Days with My Stepsister is also. I
did catch up on that as well.
Thank the Lord, yes. Okay, good. But it's crazy because it was an unbelievable week of anime. Atari was even good. I love that. Wistoria had my favorite episode since the show came out. It was actually my favorite episode this week. I didn't watch My Hero because whatever. I even like. Oh my God, so many good stuff. I Parry Everything. Fucking brilliant episode of I Parry Everything. That show keeps getting better. This season is becoming more better every single week, and that's shocking to me because usually it's the opposite. Except for nobody remembers me.
That's staying very much the same.
Yeah, it's so bad. It got even worse though. This most recent episode, but yeah, sorry about that episode of the week rant. This was anime of the week. This season was great.
A top tier week, a heat week, if you will.
A heat week for sure. This might be 2024 summer anime heat week, in my opinion. Every episode was bangers.
There was a lot of heat this week for sure.
For sure. All right, so let's get into the news that we got. Shout out to Crystal on Discord for dropping these for us. And Simi Sensei, I checked a little bit right before we started recording. He DM'd it to us a while ago, so we're very much aware of Classroom of the Elite Season 4 officially getting announced. Super excited about that. I cannot wait to see what this brings, because that, again, another show that continued to get better. I mean, more better. And ReZero Season 3. It finally got an episode count. It's going to be 16 episodes this season. And it's going to start finally a release date to October 2nd.
I meant to ask you about that.
Yeah, so October 2nd with that 90-minute episode. I didn't watch the leak, so I don't know shit that's happening.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you watched the leak, and we are on the same page here. Mostly because I just don't want to be spoiled ahead of time.
Yeah, man, fuck that. No.
And also, I feel like I love ReZero so much that I want the people to get paid for the work they do,
even if
so that I can continue to enjoy the show.
Exactly. I think our view matters. Even if it didn't, I'm going to give it the view of wherever it's getting played, like whatever. Because ReZero is, for those uninitiated, it's our number one anime. Both me and Tells, like when we made our top 10s or top 5s way back in the day, ReZero, funny enough, was both of our number ones. And we didn't know each other's list before that. It just so happened that it just happens to be the show that was both of our number one. And what's funny, when I think about that, Tell, before we did the podcast, we knew nothing about what each other loved as far as anime genres go specifically.
True.
Until we started doing this, we realized like how much into the isekai we are. Which is crazy because for both of us to be in the genre that is probably not as popular as some, or not popular now, because I think it's cool to hate, right?
Yeah, it had its trend, and now it's on that downspin.
It's on that. It's cool to hate this now, so let's all hate it trend, which is always baffling to me. But Yeah, it's funny that we just both happen to love this particular genre, and our number one anime was ReZero, which is crazy, which is clearly the best isekai ever made. But
considering we both watched Dot Hack, I even played the Dot Hack game.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
forever ago. We both loved Mega Man. I think we both specifically liked the Isekai Mega Man,
the Battle Network.
Yeah, but it's
that was
like
my favorite Mega Man.
That's just who we are. We can't hide it. It is what it is.
Definitely not. Something about it, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about it. And I've been reading a lot of reverse isekais in manhwa form. Like I talked about it last week. The name is different in the AniList, but it's called Questism in AniList, which is a terrible name.
That does sound pretty Questism.
Questism, yeah. It's just awful,
okay.
Man. But I've been reading that, and that's spectacular. But you know, the reverse isekais, obviously stuff like Solo Leveling and Questism and shit like that, where you get video game powers in real life. So it's been a lot of fun.
Right.
Okay. And then last, certainly not least, which is I don't think we need to spend too much time on it because we were never the type of people to promote it. But the sites that shall not be named, virtually any and all of them are gone. Which I never really wanted to be the type to promote it, only because of the simple fact is, to be honest, this is a living for us, this podcast. So if y'all not watching anime won't get made. And if anime don't get made, we won't have shit to talk about. So I kind of varied on straying away from those deadly seas, but
if you absolutely need them.
Yeah, only if you absolutely need them. But they got most of them. Anything that you can possibly think that's prominent got the boot. And it's because of those leaks that happened. So all the leak, we referred to it earlier, the ReZero leak, all the leaks that happened, they all got the boot because of that. Because they were leaking so much shit. So much shit. How do you feel about it?
I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't my primary anime source. You know what I mean? It literally, most of the time, if I use those sites with stuff I already watched, and I just wanted a refresher because that's the only thing I can do like that does multiple speeds. So like if My Hero was, and hear me out, My Hero.
Crunchyroll got multiple speeds.
I'm talking about like 4 times.
Gross.
But I'm literally, hear me out, I'm only saying that if I already watched it. So I already watched My Hero. If I just want a quick refresher before the podcast, I turn it on. In most cases, I don't even use it. It's not even in my like browser history. So in most cases, it don't even get touched. I'm just on Crunchyroll, High Dive, or Netflix, or whoever's got it. I'm going to that source.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
me, it don't even matter. And then if you even look at, like I said, we use AniList tell you where to watch it.
100%. It's super easy to access. If you don't, I mean, High Dive is probably the least favorite of obviously all of them because it's such a bad player. It's getting better, but it's still a pretty shit UI. But it's $5. $5 nowadays ain't much of nothing. So I pay for High Dive and Crunchyroll and obviously Netflix. So that's where I watch the anime, unless it's somewhere where I can't watch something. Like that's why it's going to be hard to watch the Fears recommendation for a mid-season review because it's I can't find it anywhere unless I go to them Deadly Seas, which now don't exist anymore.
Right.
So we're gonna figure something out for that. But
you said them Deadly Seas,
because man, them Deadly Seas, man, they'll fuck your computer up too. Like I ain't trying to put no Trojans on my computer. So anyway, yeah, it's honestly, I'm pseudo sad about it, right? The reason why I'm pseudo sad about it is the people who unfortunately can't, who are in unfortunate circumstances and can't really afford to spend the $11 we pay for Crunchyroll or the $5 we pay for High Dive. They ain't got nowhere to watch anime, and I'm sure they're gonna find a way, which is good for them. But that's the bad part. Like I want as many people watching as possible because that's also listeners.
Right.
As shallow as that sounds, but it's just more people that can join the community and have these conversations with us, which is why we do it, right? To find a bunch of friends to talk to about anime. So if you can't, if your circumstances don't allow for you to spend that leisure money to these websites that I'm gonna say this. Hopefully Crunchyroll ain't I'm gonna ever hear this part, but maybe they want to sponsor us in the future. But these terrible corporations like Sony with Crunchyroll or High Dive and whoever the Sentai is who owns High Dive. So these terrible networks that are awful to these creators, to be honest, and don't pay them enough, or even was created like Crunchyroll, right, which was a pirate site to begin with. Like I understand that completely. So I don't know. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation.
Yeah, and I would say the only reason I would feel anything about it is because, oddly enough, the sites that shall not be named are kind of, they were like, think about it this way, they were entry level for people who weren't like super into anime yet, right? Like, cause I had watched anime on like Toonami and stuff like that as a kid, and other shows, you know, growing up that were available on TV. But when I wanted to diversify my palette and didn't know where to find it at yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the sites that shall not be named that were 100%. that were there for me, giving me recommendations for stuff that I would never have even seen. Yes. You know what I mean? Like I said, I remember watching Tokyo Magnitude 8, and it wasn't even on my radar. I didn't watch anything that didn't have action in it yet. Yep. And that was one of the first anime that made me cry. So I was like, yeah, bro. I like this. So I think it sucks for the people who are entry level and want to diversify their palettes and find anime. But you gotta kind of break in through Crunchyroll or High Dive now. You know what I mean? Or Netflix. Everybody got Netflix, so you can get there. Yeah,
and I told the story all the time when Kiss Anime was up and running. That was the reason why I got into Clannad, because of that hot symbol they used to have next to stuff. Like there's a lot that, you know, we benefit from when it comes to that site. Like probably in the biggest way possible, because like I said, if it wasn't that, I'd be in that shonen life forever, and I'd be right where most of everybody is right now.
Man.
You know what's I'm not going to talk about that now. I'll save that for when we get off air, because it's something I got to say about that, but I'm going to save it for when we get off air, because it's no place here for these thousands of listeners to even hear that. So I digress. Anyway, yeah, man, it's, you know, whatever. I'm not sad about the pirate sites being gone, even though it kind of shaped me to who I am today, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the top 5 of the listeners. We did our top 5 last week. Our top 5s were pretty much almost across the board, very similar, but we got a lot of different ones. And I'm going to start off with one of my favorite people, if you don't mind, Rob Stone. Rob Stone, one of our Patreon producers. He always comment on the YouTube videos. I got to pull out my phone for this one, but he says, the formatting of my comment made it hard to see my top 5 last time, so you ended up missing a few when I mentioned them. But they haven't changed one week on. So his top 5 is actually this. Last week I read his top 5, but I read it wrong because of the way it was set up. But this time his 5 is Wistoria. His number 4 is Pseudo Harem. His number 3 is Elusive Samurai. His number 2 is Alia. And his number 1 is Too Many Losing Heroines.
Yeah. That's in line. Yeah, it's in line.
I was just about to say, he said, glad to see that there's a lot of crossover with you guys. It means I'm generally watching the right shows. Absolutely. Absolutely. He said, yeah, number 1 isn't even close. I didn't see that coming after the first couple of weeks. Ali is not so much dropped off. He said he agrees with the student council characters being a great ad, and it gave the main character so much depth, with which Alia is been so great. It's moving up closer to Too Many Losing Heroines, by the way. I just wanted to mention that. But Too Many Losing Heroines is too good, which is an absolute fact.
I do also want to say that this week's episode of Alia, it to me just confirmed even more that our main character is Hachimon, Classroom of the Elite kind of personality type.
Yeah, I was just about to say more of Classroom of the Elite kind of personality, because he's a lot more calculated, right?
Yeah.
Love that show so much, man. It's one of the best. And it's one of the funniest it's definitely the funniest show this season, for sure. Like I actually, every week it has me laughing out loud at least once. And I noticed that, speaking of the Deadly Seas, you could tell who watches it on Crunchyroll and who watches it elsewhere because of one particular translation that happened, which was funny because I didn't think Crunchyroll would do this. And I don't know if Crunchyroll maybe changed their translation later because I watched it when the episode dropped. So the day of it dropping, but it was when his sister mentioned something about chest. When she was being consoled by her maid or her partner or whatever. And she put her face in her chest and she was like, and she got off of it and she's like, titties are just the best. And it was translated to be titties are just the best. But the one on the Deadly Sea said boobs. So it was like it was different translations depending on where you watched it.
And I'm thinking about that. I was like, I remember that actually. And I remember that standing. I was like, why did they say titties?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like Crunchyroll said titties?
I do remember that. That's wild.
Which is that made me laugh out loud because I was so caught off guard by it. I was not expecting her to do that. But I digress. I'm loving that dynamic. Great show. Yeah, man, his top 5 is definitely a lot. And that's going to be kind of a theme within the rest of our community's top 5, except for one. And I'm going to go to it now, Till, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go to TK. Shout out to TK Does Nothing on Twitter. His top 5 is this one. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which is based off of a JRPG, funny enough. Great JRPG, by the way. Haven't watched the show because I don't really watch the ones that's kind of like based off of video games because they don't ever do well. But Sakuna's Rice and Ruin. Failure Frame for number 4. That took me back. Code Geass, Rosea of the Recapture, which was also shocking because that's not really getting that much praise. Number 2, Wistoria. And it's number 1, Elusive Samurai, with an honorable mention from the Delicios Nursery. Very, very different list than the rest of our communities and ours.
Can I say something about that though?
Tell me.
I like it. And I say I like it
Me too.
because it just goes to show that even though we can watch 20 plus anime in a season, there's stuff that we might miss that you might like. And I know I'm probably not going to add some of this stuff to the list, but if it's based off a JRPG, maybe I'll give it a try just to see, throw it in and watch a couple episodes and see if it's actually something worth watching. To me, it seems like he likes his historical stuff. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking he likes very action, historical and stuff. So it's very unique list. I even replied to it. I'm like, wow, very different list. That's dope. Because it's super different than anybody else's list, including ours. So I just wanted to make sure I mention that. I want to, let's go over to Kilo. Shout out to Kilo 720. He says his number 5 is Code Geass. It's the second time that's been on the list. Number 4, No Longer Allowed in Another World, which I'm so glad they got some love because it's been great so far. Number 3, this is another different list, by the way. Dead Demon, which we still have to start. Number 2, Love is Indivisible by Twins. Great choice. And his number 1 is Wistoria. Listen, I'm learning a lot about our listeners, right? You could tell they love this action shit. And I love that. I just love that. I absolutely love that.
With the viewers, huh?
Yeah, Wistoria is definitely cooking, which is great to see because it's definitely one of the most unique shonens I've seen in a long time. It's just better. Oh, Kilo wasn't done yet. Sorry. He said, he also said that I haven't had too much time to watch a lot of y'all top 5. I plan to binge when it's completely dubbed, which is great because a lot of stuff is getting dubbed this season, which is great, which has been awesome to see. Let's go to our guy all for one, Matt. I bet you already know what his number 1 is, but that's easy. All right. So starting off at number 5 though, his number 5 is Love is Indivisible by Twins. This show beat out Elusive Samurai, he puts in parentheses. I can see that. And I'm so happy that it did because I think Love Indivisible by Twins deserves the love for sure. Number 4, I Parry Everything, which is great to see because it did nothing but get better. Great. Especially this week's fucking great episode. Number 3, Alia, which is very close to our list. Number 2, Too Many Losing Heroines. which is shocking to say the least, but with somebody who's read Wistoria, that is his number one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it makes sense. He's read it. He's a little bit further ahead. He knows where it's going. But yeah, great list. There's nothing in this list where I'm like, that doesn't deserve to be there at all. Even though it's subjective anyway.
I do find it wild, man, because I feel like everybody who's talking about what they read Wistoria, and this is the thing, I refuse to read Wistoria.
I'm with you, bro.
and I say this because it gives me this kind of hype hearing people who've read it place it so high.
Yeah.
And I can't help but feel like it's a bit of bias. I'm just saying I can't help but feel that because y'all know what's coming.
Yep.
But it makes me hype. It does. I'm like, man, I want to read it, but then I'm like, nah, nope, absolutely not, because I know how my hero did me.
Yeah. And that's a good reason to not, because every time I read something, it does me dirty. Except for the only thing that didn't do me dirty was JJK.
Oh, okay.
No, JJK is the only thing that's like under. I'm like, it's just the problem is when I read it, I don't want to watch it. So that's the only thing that comes with me not wanting to read it. But everything else that I've read, i.e. being Attack on Titan or let me go to my list here.
You should probably read Promised Neverland since they ain't gonna never get
Rent a Girlfriend or I'm not reading it. I'm over. I am so over it. I don't know what to do, bro.
I was just talking about how Goldie Pond was so good and they just mutilated it.
It don't exist in my eyes no more. Somebody actually, funny enough, somebody recommended my girlfriend watch Promised Neverland when she was working because they saw her anime tattoos. They used to watch Promised Neverland. And she's like, should I watch yeah, of course she asked me, obviously this being what I do. She's like, should I watch Promised Neverland? I'm like, nah. It's not even worth watching season 1 anymore.
My wife, who knew nothing about Promised Neverland other than the first season, hated that second season. I was like, what's going on here?
And I'm like, because of that, it's not even worth to watch anymore. Sadly.
It's horrible.
All right, let's go to our guy TCB. TCB top 5 is at number 5, No Longer Allowed in Another World. Love that. Love that. Number 4, Wistoria or Wisteria, however you say it. Number 3, Alia. Number 2, Elusive Samurai. And number 1, Too Many Losing Heroines.
Hey, on board. You're on par.
On point there. Normally, it's weird because normally TCB is completely on the other side of stuff with us for these seasons, but that's like right. Wait, hold on. He said something else. He said, No Longer Allowed in Another World. Special. He gave a special shout out to it at first because at number 5 he actually has Shoshimin there, but he then types "fuck it" executive decision and he added his list and put No Longer Allowed in Another World above Shoshimin, which I don't know. TCB this week he might have put Shoshimin back up there. So let us know if that changed this week. That's funny. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, I think, is our guy T Money Fingers. T Money Fingers says, haven't listened to the episode yet, but my top 5 is, which is great. This was before he listened to the pod. He said I could easily do a top 15, but he said number 5, Days with My Stepsister. Let's go. So me and him are the only ones that have it in our list at all.
Yeah.
Number 4, Shoshimin. Let's go. Deserves. Number 3, this is a show both him and Crystal is watching. Is Senpai is an Otoku Kanoko. Yeah, okay. I actually read that right. It's funny. Alia is his number 2, which is deserving. And then last but not least, if you could guess what his number 1 is, Till.
Makian.
Yep, Too Many Losing Heroines. That's how fucking good that show is, man.
Yeah. I can completely agree with that one. Makian has been amazing this season. Yeah, it ain't nothing else to say about it. It's just been amazing.
It's been great. It's been absolutely great. So, with that being said, has anything changed in your list?
I was actually thinking about that after watching, what is it, 8 episodes, 9 episodes of Days with My Stepsister?
Yes, shall we?
And I would say no, it hasn't changed.
Let's
but
get into that.
I understand the appeal.
Okay. Even after this most recent episode.
Yeah, this most recent episode was, so hear me out.
Okay. Before you say something, I just want to say this, Tel. You loved No Game, No Life. So you gotta kind of take a step back and from that hypocritical box, right?
Well,
because that is 20 billion times worse than anything that's going on here. Just want to say that. Yeah.
I think the difference is that for No Game, No Life, I could not focus on that relationship because it wasn't about that relationship. I was focused on everything else.
They beat your ass over the face with it.
But hear me out. That's why I can't give No Game, No Life a rewatch, because every time I see it now, I'm like,
gross the fuck out.
It's like it gets worse every time. But no, I get the appeal. I get the appeal, and it's not. I don't think it's bad at all.
Not even close.
I think that the worst was this most recent episode, and I found it hilarious that I chose to binge it when this most recent episode comes out, and we kind of get this kind of situation.
Yeah.
But hear me out. First of all, the animation, it just has these moments where things are fucking insane.
So artsy, right?
Yeah, it's so artsy, but it's funny because and this is so like minute and stupid. When he was walking with his bike on the side of the road in like episode 6 or something like that. It's episode 6 I think it was episode 6. He's walking and his bike's on the side of the road. And I'm just like, damn, that bike look good as hell. Yeah, like, why is the animation for something so small and specific so good, and everything else is so consistent that it just, and I hate to, I'm not trying to gush about it, but like I'm looking at like background images and like the food, and like episode 5 was crazy, and I'm because like I said, I watched this all like recently, so I'm thinking about specific episodes. Like, man,
I love it.
I'm loving how like everything just kind of looks in there, but we get the relationships, and it's like, so I love the mom and dad.
They're phenomenal.
And the discourse, or not really discourse, because it's not really discourse, but the conversation about trying to.
Should we save that for spoiler? I do think. Okay, let me.
Yeah. We can save it for spoilers.
Let's save it for spoilers, because I find it to be important, right? Let me just say this now before spoiler talk. This show is nothing like the name implies, which is it's everything like the name implies, but it's nothing like the name implies. Because when you think of a Japanese anime title being Days with My Stepsister, you think of some other shit. You think of some No Game, No Life, raunchy, High School of the Dead weirdness that just don't sit right with nobody, or domestic girlfriend type shit. Like that's the kind of shit you think about when you hear a title like that coming from a Japanese play. But this show is absolutely nothing like that, even though it is everything that the name implies, right? Which makes it, I think, inherently special. If it was named anything else, I think it would have been, it would be even more well received than it already is, which, I mean, it has a 71% on any list.
Let me do this really quick though. I'm gonna give it a grade, since I wasn't able to give it a grade when we were grading anime.
I appreciate that.
And I'm stuck between like an A- to a B+.
Perfect grade.
And I think that this show, while obviously I think it's the relationships, bro. I think it's just how they carry the relationships, how they distance and not distance themselves. It makes it a I would definitely say it's a must watch.
Yes, a Haji Hero type of show. Like, yeah, I can't sing the praises of Haji Hero enough, being such a unique show. That this is another one of those, I think, and we're gonna get deep in the spoilers. But do you understand why I say this is probably one of the best well-written shows this season for sure when it comes to the writing?
Yeah, so I can see that, and it's like I said, it's because for me, it's the relationships, and even when we get to this most recent episode with
unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was great. I'm like, oh shit, no. Oh wait, hard to determine how you feel when you've. Okay, we'll talk about that later. All right. Okay. Should we spoilers? Let's do Days with My Stepsister. Yatagarasu for freaking sure. And what else? Let's do a gut check and conversation with Wistoria.
Okay.
Down with that?
Yeah.
Let's get to know Mic Check Waifu. This is a part of the podcast where one of us rolls a random number generator. The other reads a question associated with that number. It's your turn to roll a random number generator, and my turn to read the question. I lost my
Mama, I love you. Did you sound like?
I know. I hit puberty.
Holding it down.
I had a burp, but I didn't want to let it out. So it was like dude, it's one thing I hate. Dude, we talked about this before we started recording, funny enough. Noises on mics, bro. I hate when people put something in their mouth or chewing something, or it drives me crazy. So I tried my best to avoid, because I drink a lot of water when I'm recording because I fucking talk too much and it makes me burp. And I try my best to avoid that because I know the noise sucks. But anyway, what number did you get?
96.
96. What anime? This is so funny. What anime has the best relationship dynamics in your opinion? Best relationship dynamics. It's fucking funny. After talk about what we just talked about.
So I know I'm biased in my answer.
Me too.
So I'm gonna let you go first.
Fuck. Okay. The best relationship dynamic. When I think of the best relationship dynamic, it's only one anime that comes to mind, and it's in my top 10. Can you guess what that is? And it's not Clannad.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Steins Gate. No, that's not in your top 10, is it?
Yeah, it is definitely in my top 10 for sure. It's always gonna be in my top 10. No, but that's a good, really great answer. It could have been that, but it's one that you haven't seen yet, and it's Golden Time.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
It's always gonna be good. It's so hard every time we update our top 10s. It's so hard for me to kick out this show because of the dynamics in this show. It go from good to bad to worse to good to bad to great to worse. The dynamics within that show is so spectacular that I don't think I've seen anything that beat it yet as far as diverse dynamics. So this one would always be my favorite. But what a great Steins Gate would have been a great answer too.
So I think about this anime more than anybody else I know, because I know Polo don't think about it. Remake Our Life. I gotta say, I know I think about it.
Whoa, what a great answer.
I know I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about Remake Our Life.
What a great answer. That's a good one.
Yeah, bro. And a lot of it is because how the relationship dynamics change.
Wow.
As you find out things, as things change, even throughout the anime. So yeah, bro. I say I like I said, I'm biased because it's just currently one of my favorites still to this day.
100%.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what a great answer that is. Wow. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna take this quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna spoil Des. This is my stepsister. The order is going to be what's the 3 shows I gave you? I forgot.
Wistoria. You want to lead with Wistoria?
Yeah, let's lead with Wistoria. And then
Yatagarasu, then Days of My Stepsister.
What a perfect order. We'll be right back after these.
Seven, 3, 7, but different plans. I'm out of pocket, but you out of place. Walk in the dealership, know by my name. Never was for this lifestyle I made. You gon' need calling, these shots out to you. You got me falling, I stepped up the view. She got me fucked up all type of ways. 2 different lovers and nothing the same. I'm running around like a bag of the Kuna. I let the cat out, she back in pursuit now. Just by my bag now, no begging, no choosing. I cut it out, I came back at the cooler. Lately you been talking to me well. Lately baby feel like nothing real. Lately baby feel like nothing real. Lately baby feel like nothing will. You ain't willing to get out the way. This is never for me, never blame. I was feeling tired of be the way. I was feeling and you gon' wait off on me. And you gon' wait off on me. Don't wait, don't wait, don't wait off on me. And you gon' wait off on me. Don't wait off on me. Don't wait. Don't wait. I'm running run, I get back in the cooler. I let the cat out, she back in pursuit. Just by my back, now I'm back in, I'm choosing. I cut it out, I get back in the cooler. Lately you been talking to me well. Lately baby feel like I'm real. Lately baby feel like I'm real. Lately baby feel like nothing.
And welcome Black to episode 267 of Mic Check Waifu. You know, sometimes I have a hard time naming these episodes. And I have no idea what I would name this one.
Heat a week or two the week. I don't know, bro.
What the we'll figure it out. Anyway, let's get into the spoiler talk. Starting off with Wistoria. Like I said, this was my favorite episode of the entire season, even though it wasn't much to it, right? It's just the layout of the episode, man. It's all about the way, and this goes back to the conversation we had earlier about shonen doesn't have to be basic and stupid to be a shonen, right? Like it could be unique and special. And I think this one was very unique and special from the silly date situations. And we finally learned what Rosti actually is, which I still have my doubts. I still think it's a girl with a magic item.
Possible.
You know, if it's not, whatever. Too, I ain't judging, but
leave that to Judy, right?
Yeah, leave that to Judy for sure. But the date was awesome. It was funny. It was silly. It was a nice respite from what we came from. I love the sequence of the ice boy cleaning the kitchen at the Doors place. It was right. That was sick. Like all of that wrapped up so nicely, so well done that is normally not. That doesn't really happen in shonen that much.
But what made it, like you said, it wrapped up nicely was because it didn't linger. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It jumped immediately to, we lost because of this, yep. But let's move forward.
And it transitions so nicely into the next arc. It was right. It was perfect. It was a perfect transition into the next arc.
And I find that funny because to me, I was like, I thought it jumped extremely quickly, but it wasn't. So what made it feel like. It felt like it immediately jumped quickly, but as the episode progressed and got closer to the end, like when it took that more serious turn to, because after he was basically accosted by everybody trying to get him to join their parties, it was the top four saying, "Hey, look, come over here real quick, bro." Well,
it was only one of the top four saying, "Come over here real quick," but that being probably, that being probably one of the strongest top four, being her. So, and just to even like her having the conversations with the others to talk about what her motivations is for that and why she's like, I don't give a fuck about none of the nonsense y'all got going on. It's because my family got this going on and I need to do this. And it was that is what makes it so special, because I had no idea who she was or why she was. But that little brief moment that didn't over-explain and didn't linger, like you said, was so well explained, perfectly timed, where it wasn't weird and overly caustic. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant transition from like I said, the brief respite we got from them chilling with the dwarves to the date sequence to her saying to even them dropping that little hint while he was being bombarded with party invites to her saying something and then them going on that date and then her catching up to him like, listen, you should join. This was for Polo personally on our Mic Check Waifu scale, a perfect 10 pacing episode. Just paced. It wasn't like it wasn't specially written or anything like that. Just paced perfectly.
And what I enjoyed the most about specifically those details that they gave about her was that inadvertently it gave world building. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because specifically it was character building, right? Like that was building that character.
100%.
But in that description of building that character, we got the fact that her name is important. We got the fact that her lineage, the people in her family clearly don't live extensive or very long. Right. So now we know that we have the dwarves, we have elves, we have the everyone else, and then like, you know, we have this family who doesn't necessarily live long but has a powerful name. So she's trying to stake her claim now. She's trying to stake her claim now as soon as possible. Yeah. And it gives motivation to that character immediately that we had no motivation for in the beginning. That was dope to me. Brilliant. And that to me is what made it feel like a special episode because it gave gravitas, it gave weight quickly in a matter of seconds.
And this is about to be nitpicky as hell. But the fact that even when they were tossing in all their coins and giving their reasons, when they didn't show Will do it and they just let him come out and talk to Rosti and Coletta, that part to me was so fucking dope. It was just something about that, the way that moved. I'm like, damn, that shit was sick. Little shit like that is what I appreciate it for doing it. Like it's so, I feel very strange about even mentioning some bullshit like that small, but I think it was cool, man. It was literally my favorite episode only because of that. And in the way it transitioned to where the cliffhanger was, it wasn't too blue bally, for lack of a better term. It wasn't too, I guess the term I should have used was tasteless. This was a very tasteful cliffhanger. Something that gets you excited for next week, but don't leave you in like, what the fuck type mode.
Yeah, bro.
You know, and again, every time I talk about those what the fuck type modes, it's that bullshit that My Home Hero did every single week that made the show so terrible. Ugh. Like My Home Hero would end with a gunshot sound, him looking down a barrel of a gun, it'd be like, pow, and it'd go off. Like, come on, that's lame as hell. Stop doing that shit. It was every week. It was something like that every week. Every week he died. Like, it was so stupid. But he didn't die because it was some plot armor bullshit. Whatever. Anyway, I digress. It's still fantastic episode. The best episode of Wistoria for me personally. Where does this rank as far as your top episodes for Wistoria?
Probably number 2. Okay. Mostly because I love the fact that the previous episode he dismantled, bro.
Yeah, that was also a well-paced episode too.
I love a good character that dismantles the bad guy in a sense. You know what I mean? Made this guy who seemed grandiose and larger than life, turned him into a nobody, and then
looked cool doing it too.
And then it even explained how his nobodiness, he didn't even get scouted because he got defeated. Yep. That made it so justifying. I was like, oh, yeah. So brilliant. That previous episode was my number 1, but this was definitely number 2, just because of the actual, like, the dynamics of what continues after that.
It was brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. Well said. Well said. All right, moving on. Yatagarasu. Let's get into our boy Frozen. Sorry, it's a little late, Frozen, but here we go. Put it up in Discord here. It was so brilliant. Here we go. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
It was, where did he put it? Oh, it was in summer midterms. He said, okay, these are my thoughts on the change up in Yatagarasu, because we had a call to action to Frozen because I knew he was one of the ones rocking with us with this show. So I had to get his thoughts. And he said, okay, these are my thoughts on the change up from Yatagarasu. He said, I love it. The switch is pretty much a reflection of real life to me. there's certain events, epidemics, national crisis, natural disasters, etc., that pretty much force people to put their personal ambitions or goals or agendas to the side to handle a truly pressing matter. I feel that the first arc was a great introduction because it introduced all the major players in the political alignments, the socioeconomic structure of the world, and a few other aspects. So I think this current arc is a good follow-up in terms of adding to the world building by diving more into the fantasy side and more on how the world outside of the nobility operates. And he says predictions, the underworld is going to be a major ally to the prince when the political drama kicks back up. And then he says, I'm watching the latest episode right now, and I have a feeling this is going to be a very interesting arc. And that's a perfect lead up to the discussion of Yatagarasu, period. He fucking smacked it right on the head when it came to like, when he mentioned that the epidemics, the national crisis, and the natural disasters pretty much forces people to come together, right? Yeah. So you think about situations like that in real life. Like 9/11 was the most unified this country has ever been, sadly, which was in 2011. But that was when we were all like, when everybody had each other's back, no matter who you, immigrant, no matter what, you had each other's back because of that terrible incident. And something like in Yatagarasu, a village being slaughtered by these monkey people who we find out can transform just like the Kinu can, or, you know, I don't know what they call themselves as far as
Yatagarasu.
Oh, I thought the city was called Yatagarasu, and they were called. Yeah, whatever it is, it's the fact that there's other transformations within this world is huge. What this does is it makes Yatagarasu bigger.
It does,
because it feel like I thought we were just inside of the nation and that was it. No, there's a whole world out there, and I love the fact that they incorporated that into the show.
And you're right, because they keep making the world larger, right? Because in the previous episode, and they showed it again in this episode when he fires that arrow at the barrier, they're not getting through the barrier. Then we go to the underground that we didn't even know about before this, really. You know, you know what I mean? It
was only a small piece of it when Yuki was there.
And when I initially heard about the underground, even I think, oh, this is just like an underground, you know, battle area or something, you know, what the typical anime aspect might be. Mm-hmm. No, this is legitimately an underground where there's basically borderline a whole nother kingdom underground. And then you get down there and they take us through this tunnel or this entryway. We get past the entryway and we see that not only is this tunnel connected to like where our Yatagarasu or people are, that's where the monkey people are now.
Right.
And it is also interesting that we can immediately see a difference though in their appearance. So in the eyes and whatnot. And maybe that's just the children until they become adults or whatever.
Bro, no, because the adult had that too.
Yeah.
So think about this. Well, he had it like when it was a mid transformation when he was looking at Yuki. So there's a way to hide it apparently. Because you remember when the one was down, he was like this, and then his eyes transformed first, and then he transformed into the monkey. So this is my thoughts. Everything Frozen says is exactly how I feel. Like to the letter. It's perfect. It's brilliant. It's exactly what I'm looking for. It's an expansion because I was curious on how they would expand it because we still had so many episodes left at that particular moment, right? Which being, we only have a few now, which is kind of makes me sad as hell.
Man.
But, yeah, we only have a few episodes now, but it's to think like it's the way it's expanded means that how far can it go? And then for dude, it's so many places I want to go. For Yukiya to steal his resolve and say to the prince, I'm willing to die for this shit, after the prince's older brother was like, listen, I'm about to die for this shit, even though he kind of made everything worse to a point. But it did give us a chance, you know, for Yukiya to fix it and go through what he's going through now. But to go back to the monkeys in the cave and the children, were you sad when the prince came through and killed that little girl?
So here's the thing: is that I in my head immediately I was like, damn.
That's what I thought too. Like it was immediate too. Like it was an immediate damn.
And the reason I say that in my head is because my aspect in my mind is to go to and to think of why would the monkey people do this? You know what I mean? Why are they on site? They want to fight the crows, and what's the history there is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So okay.
And not just the fact that it's a child, because I understand the aspect that it's a child, but because like if this was an adult, I'm like, you have conversational skills, you can talk. So you get your head lopped off and you're an adult fighting people, bro. You could have talked this out or at least tried to take that route. I'm saying the child, what makes the child immediately jump and attack? Why is that child's first instinct to attack? Because they did not say when they were walking, they did not seem incoherent or like they didn't understand, life normal. Or anything like that. You know what I mean? They seem perfectly normal.
And that's what the show does so well. It's minute detail. The minute detail of the children walking, laughing, being normal. And then, like you said, on site attacking. So there's it has something to do with what they were raised. Okay. And it's probably, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's history, right? It's sadly it's history because of somebody being different. We see it in real life too. Because of somebody being different, it's a prejudice or a bigotry that innately involves their elders teaching them that when you see these particular type of people, you should do whatever you can to survive and attack and fight. And it's the same clearly with the Yatagarasu. Right, when they see the monkey, the prince didn't hesitate. Right, I don't think the prince knew that this was a little ass girl or kid that just was walking with their brother or sister, and boom, instantly head's gone. Like they were literally just protecting each other as one would do, but also like the kid attacked first. So it's like it's indiscriminate, and it's very it invokes questions. It invokes so many questions.
It also, like you said, it invokes questions. But part of the question is that like, it's clear that the monkey people all around, they are on guard for the Yatagarasu. Whereas like Yukiya, he I'm not sure if he was completely unaware of their existence before, because I would assume that
he was completely unaware.
But when he saw them, he sees them, he sees their eyes. His instinct wasn't to go into attack mode, you know what I mean? So to me, it shows a clear divide in how, and it could be that.
Because he didn't know they existed, right? Like they were normal children to him.
Right. So he didn't know to like, just like he got to go into defense mode. But I guess that's how you got to look at it, is that.
Yeah, because if you remember,
historically, they're two different people.
Yep. Because if you remember, they talked about how they mentioned like, oh, I thought that was just rumor or folktale, right? They said I thought it was just a folktale. These people are so secluded that they had no idea. Just as it's the same nowadays. If you as Tail go to Japan and you get little kids staring at you like, what the? Why is this skin? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like that. Like you have no idea that this other world exists because you're Attack on Titan, because you're behind his walls, right? And I think that is where, and to go to Frozen's idea, where my gut check or prediction is. It's a walled off situation where people they don't have an understanding of other cultures or whatever the case may be. And I think that's a big part of what the underground is. The underground is like, listen, they possibly could have a partnership with them, right? Like it could be like because because we don't know how the fuck they got in the first place. Obviously we have some idea now that we know that there's other ways to get into the Yatagarasu or whatever this place is called. So I'm thinking the underground, being a separate branch of people, have communications with the monkey people. And I find it to be an intriguing story of where it's going to go. I think it's going to be like, you don't go here, we don't go here. If you go here, it's on site. If you go here, it's on site. But until then, we're cool. But some people, a part of the other people, decide to sneak in because they want to either take over or whatever the case may be, or not live underground, whatever it is.
Yeah. I think you always have a mole in any organization.
Yeah, exactly.
So I definitely think that the Yatagarasu have a mole. But here's my perspective. I think that the prince fucked up with killing that child. I don't think there's any going back. I think that it's going to be not necessarily
just slaughter the child, by the way. Let me make that clear.
No, I know that, but I'm saying that I don't think there's necessarily a going back. Because let's say, for instance, he get out of there alive with no, and everybody who was there is gone, right? Like they dead. Are they gonna move the bodies? Because if the other people come and they see children were killed here, I think that is going to be a permanent decision on. Oh, okay, it's action. And I hate to say, I don't know how that part can be retracted or go back. I feel like it is. That's one of those damned situations. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it sucks to think about, but I feel like there's no going back from this. I don't know where it goes, though. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know. I think it gets active, and maybe there can be some kind of negotiation, but I just think because it's a kid, there's no negotiating.
Yeah, because that's the well. I mean, why would there be negotiation when they literally slaughtered the entire village, including kids? So,
You're right though.
Not just slaughtered them, but ate them as well. So it's not obviously there's
ate the women and children.
There's no going back on either side. But I think the point that is very, very valid here is that what Yatagarasu is doing, the show is doing, is the fact that it's showing that these are people too that can do the same thing. Yatagarasu, like they could be a whole nother episode, a whole nother show called what's Yatagarasu's full title? Yatagarasu, the Raven does not choose his master. It could be a Yataga monkey, the monkey does not choose his master, and it could be a whole story about what the hell they're going through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's possibly a very vast world that I'm finding to be one of the most intriguing anime of this year.
The last thing I want to say about this is that I remember when I first started watching this, I compared it to Apothecary Diaries. And this is just one of those things that I want to say really quick. Comparisons suck.
Yeah.
They absolutely suck.
Yeah.
Because 100% in the beginning, I could see, this is kind of similar in concept to Apothecary Diaries. But as it goes on, it has its own like flair, its own presence. And even when it got to like when he addressed the court and how that went, you remember that, bro, when he went and talked to the girls, the women in waiting. Come on, bro. It was just how everything transpires. It has its own, and wow, I could say some parts are equally as good, right? Equally as good storytelling in some parts and regards and stuff like that.
100%.
It's entirely different entity, and man, I am happy that I decided to watch this show.
Yeah, me too. It's I just want to throw this in here a little fact, but it's created by a lady named Chisato Ayabe. She's our age. She's 33, and this is her only work. This is her first and only work. Wow. That's interesting. Very good job out of her.
Yeah, she got some bars in them hands she writing with.
Yeah. And the fact that we got a 20 episode run too, it's spectacular. Congrats to her. All right. Now, Days with My Stepsister. I'm so happy you caught up because I still think this is one of the most, if you would have watched the episode week by week, and I hope you understand what I'm saying this when I say this, even though you binged it. So if you're watching it week to week, wouldn't you feel like this would have been the best like conversational show this season? Yeah. Yeah, looking at it conversationally, I think it would, me personally, I think it would have been.
I think that what makes it great conversationally is exactly what we discussed and kind of talked about before, is the relationships. And even with how they set rules, boundaries, standards, essentially.
So good.
Great. And how they uphold those things. All the way up until we get to the point to where we have these diary entries.
Oh, that was I'm like, dude, their pen is on fire right now. Like the creator.
Oh yeah, bars. They it's crazy. But all the way up even to, like I said, the diary entries, and to where we get to this final episode or not final episode, because it's certainly not final. Where we get to this episode. And hear me out, bro. Just listen to me. Just listen to me when I say this, because I mean,
you're gonna say the same thing I'm about to say
in the most well-being possible way. I mean, it's in the most well-being way.
I think we're thinking the same.
I'm kind of like, I'm rooting for two things here.
Yes. Go ahead. Expound if you don't mind, brother.
For two things. And normally I wouldn't say this as a stepbrother myself.
Let's talk about it.
I'm rooting for two things here. I'm kind of rooting for I want them to express how they feel about each other, while also kind of quelling it and saying, you know, I also feel the same, or I understand those feelings and I return them in a sense, but obviously we cannot return them as anything more than what it is. And it was so compelling, especially in this last episode. I was like, man, but I also want to see him do the same, kind of like, I want him to do kind of the same. I want to see more of his introspection. And I know we did get it, but I want that same deep monologue, almost that tear jerking moment of like, I gotta also throw away my interest in this, because we did get him talking about it, but she went.
Well, because she had the journal, right?
Yeah, she cut her hair off.
Oh my God, because she mentioned, like, does he like long hair girls? Like, my hair is long too. Wait, I shouldn't be feeling that. Am I jealous? Like, oh my God, why this show is so good and why it's so brilliant is the intricate parts of details that you don't think about until you hear it from her or you hear from him. And it's so brilliant. It's so well done and I just want to go to here real quick, if you don't mind, Tell. I'm just jumping all over the place, but forgive me. Fear, after the episode airs, he says, damn, where do we go from here? Also, this might be uncharted territory, but ... And I responded to that and said, hopefully be a normal family, but ...
No,
see, because here's the thing. And I'm not going to, it's some people you can see it. It's public. They put it public because they don't care. Team Money Fingers is like, I want them to date so bad. And I'm just like, I can't condone that, but I'm not
mad at it.
I'm not mad at it. Right. Like it's hard to talk about it, because sadly or whatever the case may be, I've had several brothers and stepsisters. Like, I got if you count all the fucking people my dad married, sorry, Pops, for throwing you under the bus like this. I would have like 9 or so brothers and quote unquote sisters. Right now, I do have a stepsister that my father has with his current wife that he didn't have, but who is a part of his family, right? He even adopted her and everything. So it's like it would never. I mean, it just wouldn't be ever. And it's right. So for me to think like that is different. However, Fear and T Money Fingers both mentioned they haven't really been a family for long. They came at a time where they're both the same age. It hasn't even been a full year. So it's entirely possible to spend time with somebody who you did set very strict boundaries with, which I think was the mistake in the beginning in the first place. Like, setting these clear cut, you're not going to call me brother, I'm not going to call you sister boundaries. And you know what I'm saying? We're not going to inconvenience each other type boundary. Like, what you did was you set up these stranger boundaries that fucked up your mental emotions, that put you in the situations where you are in now, because now you're basically getting to know each other as friends. Like, like like your roommates, and that's where the problem lies, because you set those early boundaries while trying to be mature. It still was an immature thing to do, because now you're in the situation that you're in now,
right?
And that is why I fucking love this show and why it's so brilliantly written, because from the perspective we start off with the dude. The dude is going through for 4 or 5 episodes of mostly just his perspective, and then we do a perspective change. And that perspective change, we see everything that's been going on with him from her perspective, and it's like I can't blame her for starting to fall in love with the dude, because he's a good dude. He's a well-written dude. Like, he's a great normal person that honestly I would be in real life. Like, yo, I'm just living my life. I'm just trying to do whatever I can to stay out the, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just normal. And
the thing is that makes it, the thing that makes it like so also compelling on top of that is the fact that it's not like they're writing these characters like they're abnormal. You know what I mean? Like, these characters, although they are, I mean, because they are, the attraction feels natural.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like they did try and force it. Yeah, they set these boundaries that establish them as friends.
And it was unintentional.
Yeah, but it still means that they kind of organically began to like each other in a sense.
Yep.
So it even if and they live with each other. So even if they didn't set these boundaries, they would have saw this from each other. They would have known that we're not real siblings. And I'm not saying I'm not saying specifically. I'm saying that like they may have seen these same traits that they would have been like, okay, this is reasonable. But I think that it was a very natural way to come about of this, like, liking each other, where it wasn't forced. And that's why it feels so like it puts you in this awkward situation where you're kind of rooting for both scenarios here. Yeah,
because because if they didn't set those boundaries and they began to live as like, this is my brother and then this is my sister, Oni-chan and what's the brother? I don't remember the brother one, but like, if they just did that in the first place, then these feelings that accumulated would have been of a family brotherly love or sisterly love.
Yeah, it would have been quelled earlier.
It would have been quelled way earlier. But because this time they said Ayase-san and they were using, you know, the typical friend language you use with people you're getting to know. And because you're getting to know this person like a little bit closely than friends, more different, it becomes like, I'm gonna help, you know? And he's just the main character, dude. He's just a good person. Like, he's just trying not to inconvenience anybody, right? Like, he's just trying to be like welcoming and normal. And because of, she's never seen that before, she's never dealt with that before, obviously she's trying to do her own thing for her own mother. And even their backstories are so written so good. But it's all just things that are small shit that, like, I will fall in love with them too, you know what I'm saying? So, like, pause. But it's like it's all reasonable shit. And the fact that she came to the conclusion that she came to while she was talking about it during these fireworks, like, listen, you're this, you're that, you're this. It's been great to have you as a brother, because she came to the realization, like, shit, I actually do like him. And then when she's doing her journal entries, it's like, it's all understandable, but we can't. And that's what I respect the most about it, being able to do that. Now, if something else happens, while I can't condone it, I'm not mad at it. I'm not grossed out by it. I'm not uncomfortable by it like you would in a different type of situation, because it's a very reasonable type of situation. And that's why I like it so much.
And yeah, I have to agree, because I feel like because of the actual attempt at not being that way, it makes it overall just a little bit more presentable. Not even a little bit. It makes it just more presentable and more digestible. Yeah. It's crazy at how these characters got their moments to develop in those feelings. And like I said, even in this most recent episode with like the pool situation, you know what I mean? Like, getting her to overall just do something that she actually really wanted to do. And getting to that point, because we did have to work up to that point. That was like, I'm gonna say 2.5, 3 episodes of conversation to even get her to go to the pool. Making sure she wasn't jealous, and she was like, why would you think I'd be jealous? And we get to this point just for her to realize that, yeah, she has those feelings, and not realize, because she kind of realized it initially sooner, but it's the realization that she has those feelings. She wants to know if he has those feelings, but it's also like, I can think about that to myself, but I can't write them down, because when I put them on paper, they can be found. They're tangible, they're real. But if I keep them in my head, they don't have to be real to anybody but me. And that to me was crazy. I'm just like, damn, bro.
When she mentioned the fact that when she was reading her journal, I was like, does he like long hair? Because I have long hair too. And then later on, towards the end of the episode, that was at the very beginning. Towards the end of the episode, she comes back with cut hair, which T Money figures said he liked the short hair. I'm not a fan. I prefer the long hair. But that's just me personally. But she did it because she like, I can't have him liking me either. So we gotta figure this out. And I just love it, man. And I don't think it was because she didn't want him to like him too, but she's just doing it as a way to express the fact that she don't want to think about a possibility that he likes her too, because then it gets uncomfortable again because of her current situation. So it's very, very, very good.
Yeah, and that's even more so. That's what makes it suck, because even more so after that, I'm like, nah, I need it. Yeah, I need him to be like, look, I actually really, really like you, but you're my sister. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I want to keep the relationship there. But I wanted to get that out so I can let it go.
But even if they don't, do you hate the show?
Nah, bro.
And what I mean by that, even if they do get together and they're still in this situation,
as long as the writing stays as good as it does.
That's
and
exactly
by that, what I mean is that as long as the introspection,
yes,
the self monologues, as long as those stay reasoning, because what they are doing is internal reasoning. As long as they continue to reason within themselves and make sense and good logic, I'm with it.
I love talking anime with you.
If they never say it to the other, but I'm just saying.
That's exactly how I feel, because like while we both know, right, us as people, real life can't condone this type of shit. It's very strange. However, again, like you said, as long as it's the introspection within this show continues to be what it is, because if it wasn't for the writing and everything that is what the show is, it would be hard to justify. But the show is so fucking good as far as writing goes, it's hard to not be on that side. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to not be like, don't be, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so well done that it's understandably just, again, one of the best shows this season for sure. And I'm glad you gave it the grade you gave it, because I think I gave it the same. It's that. It's literally that. It's unbelievable.
I think, and here's the thing though, with the quality of the writing, I feel like the A- is really where it is, right? Yeah. And I think that by the end of the season, that's just I will strictly lean to the A-, because it is that good. It's that good. It's the writing is that good. So
this is my last thing I'm gonna say before we wrap up this episode. What if, Teliano, that this is funny, crazy. What if the parents did this just so they can be together and they're not legally married? Because if you noticed in an episode, they sleep in 2 separate beds. You don't ever see them really kiss and hug. What if they're doing this just because maybe that dream of her, meeting him at the beach was an actual real thing that happened? The parents discussed this. This is kind of a arranged marriage, but not intentionally arranged, to the point where they be like, listen, you guys are not brothers and sisters. We did this.
Oh man, where you pull that from? Is that really your thoughts?
That's I just said what if, because when I'm watching the show And they drop all these small details that the girl picks up from him, and the small details of him picking up of her. That why not? Why would they show the parents sleeping in separate beds? Why don't they show the parents hugging and kissing? You know what I'm saying?
It tracks.
It tracks.
It tracks.
It could be nothing. Could be me overthinking because I'm a very overthinker when it comes to my romance anime, because you get so much variety in this particular genre that you don't get in shonen, that I'm just like,
I would be mad at the parents for making it so awkward, but I would also be like, I understand.
What did they make it awkward though?
Well, I'm only saying they made it awkward for introducing how they were together, right? Like, I'm not sure what they could have done to make it different. Like, hey, we work together and we're gonna just be hanging out a lot. That kind of thing, right? This is I don't know how they could have done it to change the scenario. I'm saying they made it awkward because it's the stepsister, stepbrother scenario. But I do think that that sounds like it could be reasonable. Like, it tracks. That's all I can say. It tracks.
Because when you look at the both of them, right? They're both in situations where they don't have anything to do with anybody else, right? The mother and the daughter is trying her damnedest to be independent, and while doing so, she's sacrificing friends. She's sacrificing a normal kid life that she had when she was younger, that she just completely avoided because of the simple fact that she's trying to be independent for her mother's sake. The son trying to be independent for his dad's sakes because their mom left. And his son, they made it clear as day, his son is basically scarred from women because it's just like his mom fucking dipped. She just walked out. You know what I'm saying? Right. So everything tracks to the point that these people could have met when they were both younger and became friends, and they're just like the best of friends, and they're trying to find ways to push the daughter and the son out of these unfortunate walls that they're going to run into because of situations that happen within their life. That's my thought process behind the entire show. And which means that they could be together perfectly fine.
Yeah. If that's the scenario, it turns out that I would be okay with them being together.
Yeah. If it's that well written, god damn. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And maybe I'm saying that because it's my own thoughts, but damn, that'll be well written. I'm at Paulo Bornfly on all social media.
I'm at King Teliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mike Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And remember, Discord is the best place to reach us. And as always, Mike Check.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu.